Lookism, the manhwa that is notoriously known for fighting. This manhwa comprises of various martial arts, mainstream and also unknown. The mainstream ones being boxing, MMA, Muay Thai, Judo, and the less known martial arts would be such as Syrian, Systema and Jeet Kune Do. Now the world of Lookism is filled with fighting, and that's honestly the reason I even read it, bro. But one thing that also heavily revolves around fighting that I love is the UFC. Short for the Ultimate Fighting Championship, the UFC is the world's greatest and biggest martial arts organization, providing plenty of iconic fighters such as Conor McGregor, John Jones, Khabib Nurmagomedov and Nate Diaz, and the list goes on. My goal in the video is to see how far Lookism's martial arts would go if they were real, and also see how practical they would be in a real life fight within the UFC. Now the way this is going to work is I'm going to choose 5 martial arts from Lookism characters, since there's a huge variety of martial arts in Lookism, and then I'll see how they do in a real life fight within the UFC. Then I'll make a judgment out of 5 to see whether it's practical or impractical. Now the martial arts I chose from Lookism were Aikido, Jiu-Jitsu, Jeet Kune Do, I said that wrong, Jeet Kune Do, Capoeira and MMA. Now starting off with Aikido, the martial arts was founded by Morihei Ueshiba. Now, I don't know if I said that wrong, but I apologize if I do. Yeah, so it was heavily oh my god, yo, by the way guys, I'm sick, so please, I apologize if I say anything wrong or I just sound wrong, because, yeah, I'm sick. The martial arts anyways was heavily popularized, I said that right? Popularized, okay cool, I said that right, in movies that starred Steven Seagal. Aikido is a huge Lookism martial art, and it's pretty powerful, being used by Daniel Park, Gun Park, Oli Wang, perhaps Eli Zhang a bit, and Crystal Choi. It's an easy way to dispose of your opponents along with dealing with them without stress by grabbing them from pressure points or joints and then flipping them around. Now for Aikido, the moves in movies, Aikido just seems amazing, it's pretty cool, it's amazing, it's sick, you can flip people around, but honestly, yeah, it's been fraud checked, and if you're doing that in real life, mate, I'm gonna be praying for you. Yeah, if you did that in the UFC, you'd probably get murdered in round 1, so yeah, it's just best not to. You're better off doing wrestling. So I rate this a 1 out of 5. Anyways, on to our second martial arts, Jiu-Jitsu. Now, Jiu-Jitsu is a grappling, striking and throwing martial art. It's used by many UFC fighters such as Nate Diaz, Dustin Poirier and Charles Oliveira. In Lookism, now the only person we know who uses this is, sadly, it's the fat bastard, the fraud himself, Logan Lee. Now, Jiu-Jitsu has also got another form which is more popular, known as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which is pretty much Jiu-Jitsu, but unlike the original Japanese one, it heavily focuses on submissions, takedowns and grappling, and it's pretty much the one used by every UFC fighter, including the ones that I've mentioned. Now, if it were to be used in the UFC, honestly, yeah, you'd win. You'd really win. But it's better if you combine Jiu-Jitsu or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with martial arts such as kickboxing and wrestling, so you'd have a higher chance of winning. So yeah, honestly though, it's a pretty good martial arts, and I'd have to give it a 4 out of 5. It's amazing. Now on to Jeet Kune Do. The only character in Lookism who uses this is pretty much Warren Che, and honestly though, when he combined it with his CQC, he became an absolute powerful unit, being able to put down even Manager Kim. So yeah. Now in real life, it's been used by the famous martial arts actor Bruce Lee. Jeet Kune Do is a martial arts mainly used for show, because I've rarely seen it be put to use in real life fighting sports. However, it does seem pretty effective, heavily being revolved around speed and power. Now in a UFC match, I do think Jeet Kune Do users would have a chance to put up a good fight, but I doubt they're going to be winning, because let's say we put them up against a professional UFC fighter who does, I don't know, kickboxing and wrestling, I doubt they'll be able to defeat them. So I'm gonna have to give Jeet Kune Do a 0 out of 3.5. Now honestly, that's pretty good, because it's it's not really much of a martial arts used outside movies and shows. But yeah, now 4th on the list, I've put down Capoeira. Now honestly, it's actually the most impressive and unique martial art I've ever seen. It was originally made by Brazilians to fight off invaders or colonizers who attacked them. Now mixing both fighting and dance is pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie, and honestly it's actually pretty impressive. So yeah, and that's pretty much what Capoeira is. Now if performed right, then it may have a chance of defeating potentially like boxers and kickboxers. But yeah, that's maybe not kickboxers actually, but yeah, boxers possibly. Now capoeira has been used in the UFC, and it's been used by UFC fighters such as Johnny Walker, and Michael Pereira. In Lookism, the only people we know that do capoeira are Mandiak Bang and James Lee. You could also add in Johan Seong and Daniel Park for copying a few moves, but I wouldn't. Anyways, now in a UFC fight, if this was matched with like another martial art, honestly capoeira could work pretty well and maybe even earn a win, but you gotta be extremely smart with it since it's really hard to pull off. Anyways, I'd give this a 4 out of 5 as well. Anyways, lastly, the final martial art on our list, MMA, aka mixed martial arts. Now, it's no wonder that mixed martial arts would be a 5 out of 5. After all, it's a combination of all martial arts, mainly consisting of boxing, kickboxing, wrestling and Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Now, it's a perfect martial arts to use in the UFC as it counters other martial arts that consist of, some of their moves and the techniques as well. So it's the perfect counter to any martial arts too. Now, characters in Lookism that are known to be using mixed martial arts are Jake Kim and the Gen Zero fodder. You could also probably add in Daniel Park, Jin Park, Johan Seong. Honestly, all the copycats, since they've copied the martial arts and they just use them just like MMA. Now in a UFC fight, honestly MMA is the perfect choice. Obviously it's pretty much just the opponent's martial arts as well, because everyone does MMA in UFC. I don't think no one doesn't. But yeah, you're really most likely to win as well using MMA as long as you're the better fighter. So really it comes down to who's better at fighting, who's the stronger man. Hopefully you win. If you don't, then you're ass and you should just give up. Yeah, nah, just joking. And honestly that was a bit cringe, but yeah. MMA is a 5 out of 5 martial arts, and honestly it's the best look as a martial arts to use. Obviously in real life, because in martial arts you've got like the invisible attacks and stuff. But yeah, honestly though, that's all I've got to say. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please do like and subscribe. Peace.